Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I speak in English, so those who need translation can all. You're translating in Russian there, is it? Any idea to translate in Russian? Russian translation? You're doing it online, and you've told everyone in advance, including the Matajis. Is it? Okay, thank you very much. Hindi, Bangla, Nijete Madhye Vivasta Karun. When Srila Prabhupada was installing Sri Sri Radha Landanishwara, the first large Radha Krishna deities in ISKCON, in London in 1969, he said that on each side of the Singhasan of Radha and Krishna should be two small Vyasasans, one for Lord Brahma and one for Narad Muni. He said that they come here regularly. Why should they go to London? Because Srila Prabhupada went there. He installed the deities there. Once in Tokyo, after a class, a devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, "Do you ever go to see the demigods?" You can hear the recording. And Srila Prabhupada said in a somewhat indignant tone, "Why should I go to see them? They will come to see me. They're all servants of the emperor. I'm a friend of the emperor. They can get benefits from me. I don't need to go to see them." We see also in the prayers of pure devotees, they say, "I don't want the post of Brahma or Indra. I just want to be a servant of the devotees, of the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the devotees." That is a more desirable situation. Mostly people who have faith in the Vedic literature, and there aren't many these days, but we're talking about Vedic culture. There are many Hindus, but they don't even know the names of the 4 Vedas, most of them. Maybe they never even heard the word Veda. And they don't have faith in the Vedas. You see, whoever's worshipping Sai Baba, for instance, and there are millions of them. Or there's so many bogus, completely bogus things. It's just one of them. There's so many Babas and Amas and Dadas and so on and so forth. But in the Vedic culture, the majority were karmis. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu analyzed that among the Veda Nishta Madhya Bahut Karma Nishta, most of them who follow the Vedas, they are on the Karma Kanda path. They're interested in following the Vedic processes for going to the heavenly planets. And they can do so by performing pious activities. Pious people means they believe in the Vedas, they follow Vedic injunctions, they have faith in Ganga, in Gomata, and in the Vedas, and they want to go to the heavenly worlds. And they go to the heavenly worlds, and what happens there? They enjoy heavenly delights. Tetang bhuktva swarga lokang vishalam kshine punye martya lokang vishanti. Then again they have to come back. The demigods are sometimes called amara, which means not dying, which is not exactly true, but they don't die very quickly as humans on this earth do. They have a long life. Comparatively, it's all momentary. Everything's relative as in this world. So they have a long life, but it's momentary in relation to even that of Lord Brahma, the demigods' lives. We're talking about the demigods here, we're not talking about Lord Shiva, who's sometimes counted among the demigods, but he's in a position above the demigods. That's a very high birth in the material world. Difficult to attain because one has to perform strictly many pious activities. But if you go there, you can enjoy a lot. Brahma is above the demigods in heaven. Some little insect, not in the body of a demigod, is crawling around on my nose, therefore. Seems to be. Can't see it, but seems to be. Chanting japa. Chanting japa. You listening to the class? Or chanting japa? Are you listening to the chanting or listening to the talk? You don't understand English? Ingreji buste parana? Huh? Something. Makes me think you're not very interested in the class if you're chanting japa during the class. So Brahma and Narad Muni, Brahma is more elevated than the demigods in heaven. They're the heavenly worlds, and above that are the planets of the highly elevated transcendentalists, and among whom the leader is Lord Brahma. And Narada is Devarshi. He's not really in the position of a demigod, but he travels among them as a highly enlightened person, and he uplifts them by his transcendental instructions. The demigods, they're in the heavenly worlds, they're interested in enjoyment, and among the demigods, some of them are involved in universal management. It's not all enjoyment. They have some responsibility also. There are demigods who oversee various functions of this material world. The various functions of our bodies, every one of them. Blink your eyes, some demigod is overseeing that. The demigods of seeing, for passing stool, there are demigods for getting born, for dying, for the wind, for the rain. They have responsibilities. Krishna can do everything himself, but he delegates some responsibility to the demigods. And some of them are in the positions of giving boons also. People pray to them for boons, among the demigods who are prayed to for boons, prominent is Devi, demigoddess. And there are big temples erected to her. In big temples, you don't see big temples so much in North India, in South India, especially in Tamil Nadu. We see huge, spectacular temples for Vishnu, for Shiva, for Murugan, in Skanda, Kartikeya, and especially in Madurai, there's a very famous temple of Meenakshi. It's actually Sundareshwara temple, Lord Shiva temple, but she's also there, his wife, and it's a huge, the temple is better known as Meenakshi temple. The demigods are prominent personalities in the universe. They have facilities for enjoyment. Their bodies are very strong and powerful, the male bodies, and the female bodies are very beautiful. And in the heavenly worlds, there are all facilities for material enjoyment on a high class level. Nevertheless, the demigods are not very happy. In one sense, they're happy. They have so much material enjoyment. But in another sense, they feel dissatisfied because material enjoyment doesn't bring happiness. It's addictive, but it doesn't satisfy the soul. And demigods, they can see the situation on this earth. They have very high intelligence compared to ours, and very high sensory powers. And many of them, they're present in the heavenly worlds, and they're also present in the subtle forms on this earth and in different parts of the universe, just like the demigods who are overseeing various bodily functions. They're present in different parts of the body. The demigod of fire, Agni, wherever there is fire, he's present. And fire is present in so many places. It's not manifest and unmanifest. The demigod of air, he's present in the heavenly worlds and he's all-pervading in the universe, both inside bodies and outside of bodies. There are different kinds of air. The airs that blow here and there, but there are airs in the body also. Airs for breathing, airs that move the various substances within the body, airs for digestion, airs for passing out gas. There are airs which, certain kind of air delivers the child when the child is pushed out of the body in the birth. The demigods are very exalted beings, but the position of a devotee is more exalted. They're also devotees, but they're known as Sakama Bhaktas. They know Vishnu is supreme. They worship Vishnu, but they especially turn to him when they get in trouble. And then when they're out of trouble, they tend to forget him. That we find in this world also, that people who are pious tend to turn toward God when they're in trouble, and then they're not so interested in worshipping him when the trouble is over. So they know Vishnu is supreme, and sometimes they have some insights, some realization that actually this world it's not so wonderful, it's not so nice. And some of them may desire to take up spiritual life. Especially there are those who were performing spiritual life, performing sadhana, and then they didn't complete their sadhana of controlling the senses, controlling the mind, and they have material desires and they go to the heavenly worlds. You can go to the heavenly planets by performing various karma khandya sacrifices, but also those who are yoga brashta, those who are not complete in their path of performing yoga, they go to the heavenly worlds to enjoy. And then they come to this earth in a pious family. Shuchinang Srimatang Gehe Yoga Brashto Bijayate. They get born in a family of a wealthy family, pious wealthy family, which gives them facilities for material enjoyment on this earth. Or if they're fallen after a long practice, they can take birth in a family of transcendentalists. Srila Prabhupada, in his purport on this verse in Bhagavad-gita as it is, mentions about his own spiritual master, Srila Bhaktistan Saraswati, who was born in the home of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And himself, from the very beginning of life, he had the opportunity to be in contact with Krishna consciousness. So that's a very great opportunity. The Bhagavatam relates that demigods, they desire to be born in this Kali-yuga so they can take advantage of the Sankirtan movement. And Srila Prabhupada, we don't have it in the Veda base, but it was commonly said. I remember when I joined this movement, when I was allowed to join, that Srila Prabhupada said that the demigods are lining up to take birth in this movement. They want to join this movement, be children of devotees. So those children who are born, I don't know if these children were born after the parents took to Krishna consciousness, but they seem to be taking to it quite nicely from what I can see. I don't know what they're like when they're not in the temple, but they look to be quite nicely behaved and quite nicely taking to Krishna consciousness now. There can be a problem with that also, being born in the family of transcendentalists, because you become a demigod because you're pious but you have material desires. And then if you get born in a devotee family, you can bring that consciousness with you. You like to be a devotee. You don't want to be born in a family of non-devotee or grossly materialistic people or sinful people. You want to be born in a cultured family. But then you may bring that mentality with you. That, the demigod mentality. Recognize Vishnu as supreme and enjoy the world with his blessings. So if there are any demigods, there should be so many demigods here. Apart from our devotees, who are more than demigods. But they should be. They come to Navadvip Dham to worship the Supreme Lord. So if any of you are interested in listening, I'd like to tell you that if you're going to take birth in the womb of devotees here, just don't bring your mentality with you. We have enough of that already in ISKCON of devotees who are pious and they like to worship Krishna, but they want to enjoy the material world also, side by side. But that's not the purpose of Lord Chaitanya's movement. The purpose of Lord Chaitanya's movement is not to have people chanting Hare Krishna and enjoying this material world and then going to the heavenly planets on the strength of chanting Hare Krishna. Because the holy Harinam Chintamani, you can get whatever you like from chanting the holy names. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't come to this world to make an easy means for people to go to the heavenly planet. You came from there, you're coming back here, and you want to have an easy way to go back then and enjoy the world while you're here. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings are Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Shikshartam Eka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dhari. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach devotional service enriched with or as visible within or concomitant with that devotional service is detachment from this material world and knowledge of our existential position. And especially if you want to enjoy this material world, then you shouldn't wait for another yuga, because this Kali-yuga is really not a good time for enjoying the material world. It's a very nasty age. It's a very good age if you want to go back to Godhead. There's a story, means a fact, that in Vishnu Purana of Vyasadeva, rishis were coming to ask him, what is the best varna? And generally people think Brahmana. And what is the best gender? And generally people think male, because the Vedic injunctions are directed toward males and not females. And generally, most of them. And then what is the best yuga? And you would think Satya Yuga is the best. But then Vyasadeva was taking his bath in the river when the rishis approached. So when you bathe, you go up and down 3 times. That's the system. So he bathed, he went down once, he came up and said Shudra. He went down again and came up and said women, and came up and said Kali-yuga. So that was the answer to their questions. Shudra is why Shudra is the best? It's a condemned position, but for a Shudra to sin, though their tendency is to sin, but it's not taken very seriously. If a Shudra drinks wine, that's sinful, but it's not nearly as sinful as if a Brahmana drinks wine. He gets severe punishment. A Shudra can, simply by faithfully serving a good master, can get all the benefits. And same for women, which is why women, if they get a good husband, they don't have to study in the Gurukul and perform so many austerities. All they have to do is serve their husband, and if he's doing well, then they share in the effects. So it's better. And they also, generally speaking, then they're not counted. If they do some sin, it's not counted so badly for them. And Kali-yuga is the best, because Kaling sabhajyantyarya gunagya sarabhagina yatra sankirtanayana eva sarava swarto bilabhyate. In Kali-yuga, those persons who are very discerning, who can understand what is the quality of various phenomena, they say that Kali-yuga is the best of ages, because simply by Sankirtan, everything you need is fulfilled by Sankirtan in Kali-yuga. Krite yadhyayato Vishnam Tretayam yajyato makai dwapare paricharyayam kalodhad hari kirtanat. Whatever was available, whatever could be obtained in the Satya Yoga, otherwise known as Krita Yoga, by meditating on Vishnu over long periods, thousands of years with great austerities, and in Treta Yoga by performing elaborate sacrifices, which means that you have to make the whole kingdom sinless, everything, all these big sacrifices, like Ashvamedha Yagya, the king can only do it if he's made the kingdom sinless. It's not an easy job to perform an Ashvamedha Yagya. Not only do you have to be in control of the whole kingdom, but you have to keep the whole kingdom sinless. And then in Dwapara Yuga by elaborate deity worship, and there's so many offenses you can perform in deity worship, but you get all the results simply by Sankirtan, by the pure chanting of the holy names. Real Sankirtan is pure chanting of the holy names. So Kali-yuga is the best. And demigods want to take birth in Kali-yuga, but the problem is if you bring that mentality that let me enjoy the world and chant Hare Krishna, then it's a contamination to the Sankirtan movement. Better we have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's not fussy about who he picks up. Patra vichar nahi. He doesn't consider who's a suitable candidate, who's not a suitable candidate. Generally, suitable candidate for religious life means someone who is yeshang tvandagatang papam, whose sinful activities are completely finished. Such a person is eligible for religious activities. And then punya karmanam, jananam punya karmanam. And then for higher level, the spiritual activities, Taidvanva moha nirmukta, who is free from the duality of delusion and illusion, they can take to Krishna's service with full dhriyata, with full determination. So generally such people, they are considered fit candidates for devotional service, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't see. He sees whoever's willing to take to devotional service. And sometimes we see people who are very sinful by background, they can take to devotional service very seriously. Although the sinful background can be a great obstacle in one's advancement also, because the tendency for committing sinful activities, it can seem very hard to shake that off. So those who are pious, if they take to devotional service, it's considered they should have a better opportunity. That Krishna also indicates in Bhagavad-gita. He says anyone can take to my devotional service. Mam hi partha vyaparshracha yepi syuf papayoneha striyo vaishas tata shudras tepe yanti param gatim. He says everyone can. It doesn't matter, even if they come from what is considered a disadvantaged background, or sinful background, or lower background. Krishna mentions, women, Vaishyas and Shudras, they can all attain the supreme destination if they take full shelter in me. But then he says, after that, King Puna Brahmana Punya Bhakta Raja Shayastata Anityama Sukham Lokam Imam Prapya Bhajasvamam. Then what to speak of? Kaimutik Nyai, what to speak of? Those who are the Brahmanas and pious Kshatriyas, if they worship me, then certainly they should attain if even those from a sinful background can attain the highest destination, then what to speak of those who are from a more pious background? And in this verse, Krishna also emphasizes, again, as he's already done, the two main characteristics of this material world. It's miserable and everything here is temporary. What is required to go back to Godhead is not so much a pious background. That can be a help, no doubt. But it's accepting the principle of pure devotion. Anyabhidashita shunyam jnanakamadhyanavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktirutama. Accepting the principle of pure devotion. I'm not here to enjoy this world. I'm not here to reject this world. I'm here to serve Krishna. I should do whatever is required to serve Krishna favorably. So that attitude, if one can embrace this attitude, then from whatever position one is in, pious, impious, or mixed, mostly it's mixed. If we embrace this attitude, then very quickly and positively we can make advancement in devotional service. But if we come from, even from the very pious background of the heavenly worlds, and even we enter this movement, but if we have the attitude that let me enjoy this world and chant Hare Krishna, then we didn't get the essence of what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. And it just increases the numbers of neophyte devotees and materially motivated devotees. And it pollutes the whole ethos of pure devotional service if it's performed for material gain or material enjoyment, or if we're cultivating a spirit of material enjoyment along with worshipping Krishna. Now it's understood that not everyone is ready to take up a life of full abnegation of material enjoyment, and nor does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ask for that, especially for Grihastha. Jacha Joga. What is that? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says to Raghunath Das Goswami before he left home. Just you accept material enjoyment according to the position you have. But internally you cultivate renunciation. We should have our mics at least as loud as theirs. Then they'll come and break up the whole temple. Possibly. Then it's not unknown for the religion of peace people to do such things. So this spirit of enjoyment of this world, we don't see so much among devotees at the present time, the spirit of renunciation of the world. Rupa Goswami warns, Bhukti mukti sprihayavat pishachi hridi vartate tavat bhakti sukhasyatra katam abhyudayo bhavet. In a rhetorical question, he says, as long as the witches of desire for material enjoyment or for becoming liberated from this world are within the heart, then how can one experience the happiness of pure devotional service. So it used to be, within Vedic culture, there was a very strong current of renunciation aiming at moksha. But we don't see that much. Still there are that became famous during the recent Kumbh Mela. I was told that one IIT Baba became famous because he was a Baba. Means must have been a Shaiva with this jota, matted hair, and he had an IIT background. So there are still people who take up this path of renunciation, and that will probably go on, severe renunciation, aiming at mukti. But the spirit of enjoying this world, if that is promoted within Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sampradaya, even among grihastas, that will cover the whole path of pure devotion. Now it's not that grihastas can't have nice houses, nice cars, nice clothes, all these things. They may or may not, according to their taste and their karma. Because even if you desire it, you may not get it. They may do, or they may not do. But the promotion of the idea that it's important to enjoy this, it's important to have a good career, lots of money, work hard, be a success, all that. Measuring devotees in terms of their material success. This is a contamination in the path of pure devotional service. So if any demigods are out there who happen to be listening, and presumably they can tune into different languages also. I'm speaking here in Malay. We all speak Mleccha Bhasha. It's not only English, Hindi, Kannada, whatever it is. If it's not Sanskrit, it's Mleccha Bhasha. Language of the barbarians. So if you can pray to be born in this movement, it's the best place to be born. If you're not born in this movement in Kali-yuga, the children, they're in a very precarious position. And even if they are born in this movement, it's very precarious because they get, what are they going to do for education? Because the government's mandate that they have to have education. And the education is horrible. It's soul-killing. And even the schools run by devotees are mostly, the curriculum is all this curriculum aiming at becoming a normal person, which becoming a normal person means becoming a demon, that's all, because that's normal. So you can pray, if you're a demigod, to be born in a family where their focus is clearly on pure devotional service. I get all the time, especially if I come to a place like, well, there's no place like Mayapur, but where there are many devotees, all the time, children are brought, oh, bless my child to be a pure devotee, as if it's some kind of just you give a bless. And then at home they're being taught you have to study and have a good career and materialistic at home, and then bless them to be a pure devotee. But it doesn't work like that. It's you're trying to extract some kind of cheating blessing from me, that despite my training them in a different way, actually you don't want them to be a pure. If you want them to be a pure devotee, you train them to be a pure devotee. What's your understanding of a pure devotee? Someone who has earns at least 2 lakhs a month. That's the first consideration. But that's nothing to do with pure devotional service. What would you prefer? That your child is actually a pure devotee? You want them to be like Shukdev Goswami, pure devotee? He left he thought his father was so materialistic, Vyasadeva, that he left him. He left. Actually, he wasn't even a pure devotee at that. He was a Brahmavadi. If your child is a pure devotee, he might not take your materialistic plans very seriously. So if you're a demigod and you want to take birth in this moment, it's you can see your time's running out. My Kshine punye martya lokang vishanti. Oh no, where am I going to go? It's not in the hands of the demigods. Can control so many factors in human life, but they're all under the control of Paramatma, and they can't control exactly where they get born. But they may pray, I'll be born in a family of devotees, but pray to be born in a family who have clear vision of what they're doing as parents. Guru na sasyad, swajanana sasyad, pitana sasyad, jananina sasyad, daivang na tasyad, napatischa sasyan. What's the last line? Namochyadyasam mrityum. Don't be. Rishabdev is instructing his sons. He's telling them, don't be a guru. Don't be a relative to anyone. Don't be a father or a mother. Don't be accepted as godly by others unless you can deliver your dependence from the cycle of birth and death. What a great responsibility that is. So first of all, we who are here, we're in a more fortunate position than the demigods who are praying to be born in this moment. We should perform devotional service in such a way that we don't end up praying to be born in this moment. In other words, we don't join the demigods. Go back to Godhead this life. And if you are a demigod, then come here and chant Hare Krishna and go back to Godhead. Theoretically, you can go from the heavenly planets to the spiritual world, but the whole spirit of enjoyment is so strong there. It's hard to pick up the mood of pure devotion. One advantage of Kali-yuga is it's so bad that it can be an incentive to take up Krishna consciousness seriously. 4 kinds of people come to Krishna consciousness. Arto, Jignasu, Artavati, Jnani cha. And the distressed, the desirer of wealth, the inquisitive, and those who are in knowledge of the absolute truth. So mostly in Kali-yuga, at least we see in the Western world, that most people take to Krishna consciousness having been through much distress. And they're looking for, they've lost faith in the prospect of material enjoyment, at least for some time. And if they have some piety in them, then or some background of devotional service, or maybe even without that, they may come in contact with devotees and take up devotional service. So they're in a better position than the demigods. Now, don't aim to be a demigod. I know one devotee, he must have passed away now, I haven't seen him for some time. Tamil, spoke good English, which was unusual in the 1970s. In the 1970s he was about 40-something years old. So he's probably, I haven't seen him for some time, he's passed away now. He was initiated in Sri Caitanya-caritamrta by Bhakti-vilas Tirtha Maharaj. And even though he was well educated, he served in ISKCON Calcutta at that time and later elsewhere. Mostly he was in Calcutta. But he had full faith that by chanting Hare Krishna and serving the devotees, he could go to the heavenly planets. So he was very trustworthy. You could give him money and send him off, do this, that. He would do all menial services and chant, and he was very fixed. I want to go to the heavenly planets. Don't do that. He's maybe listening now. He must have, presumably he left the body. Last time I saw him in Puri, serving in an ISKCON center there, maybe 20 years ago. So set our sights. Hold on to the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya's representatives. Chant the holy names. Chant the holy names. We had an initiation. We don't want Namaparad. We're instructed to avoid Namaparad, but we don't want Namabhash either. By Namabhash you can go to the heavenly planets, you can even get liberation. But we're really aiming at the pure chanting of the holy names. And that will take work on our part to take to the process of Krishna consciousness very carefully, very assiduously, and praying for the mercy of Haridas Thakur. We have so many helpers, so many guardians, so many protectors. We say Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. We have so many helpers. We have the opportunity now. If we're in the heavenly worlds, you get stuck. It's a bad deal. If you're interested in spiritual advancement, going to the heavenly planets it's a bad deal. You get sidetracked by all the enjoyment and you have to spend so much time there. What a waste of time. Sometimes devotees may do that. They get a little sidetracked by watching some entertainment movie or something, and then after some time they may watch it for 10 minutes and think, that was a waste of 10 minutes, or they may watch the whole thing and may think that's a waste of 90 minutes. But what if you have to waste thousands and thousands of years just stuck up there, and you're supposed to be dancing and drinking soma rasa? What a waste of time. But then you forget, you get absorbed in that. It's heavy enjoyment. High dopamine. So sadhu savdhan. We have to avoid sinful activity, and we have to avoid the desire for being pious also. Hare Krishna. Any question? Okay, give out the mic.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. I have a question which was making me a little confused. What if a devotee is not able to become a pure devotee in this lifetime, or does whatever he can but is not able to complete it fully? On the base of that, will he be sent to the heavenly planets, or will he come back to the material world to continue it?
Well, the heavenly planets is the material world. That's up to Krishna. That's up to Krishna. Generally, we understand that you have to go to the heavenly world. If you have material desires for material enjoyment, then you can satisfy them. You may get born again. There's one well-known case of a devotee in London, born in a Gujarati family in London. Female body who remembers her previous life as a brahmachari in America. Died in a car crash. So you may come back. Yeah, someone else had a question.
Dandavat Pranam, Guru Maharaj. My question is, like we know that our 365 days, demigods and demigoddesses, they're one day. So how long demigods and goddesses live? What is their lifespan? My first question. And second
Well,
is that...
generally it's said to be, what is that, 10,000 heavenly years. They're different demigods. They different lifespans.
It's
there
different.
are 14 Indras in a day. What is it? In one... What is it? 14 Indras in a day of Brahma, is it? 14 mana, I can't remember exactly. Anyway, it's a long lifespan.
Okay. And next question is, like you
It's
touch
long,
upon...
but it's not long, because it's all relative.
Okay.
Human
And
life is long compared to ant life. I'm not sure how long ants live, but it's not 70 or 80 years. And Indra's life is long compared to ours, human life. And Brahma's life is long compared to Indra's.
And Maharaj, you touch upon the Shuddha Nam. So just explain in brief, in short, Shuddha Nam.
Shuddhana means there's no desire other than to please Krishna in the chanting. We're actually praying at last, O Krishna, O energy of Krishna, please engage me in your service. As we start off chanting like that, and then when we actually mean it, that's called pure chanting. When we fully mean it. Anything else, ladies' side?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Dandavat Pranam. As you have said here that as you have said that a devotee has a desire of going to the heavenly planets, and he was chanting Hare Krishna Japa. So, how the transcendental vibration of this Hare Krishna Mahamantra will act upon him if he has a tendency to go to the spiritual planets and he is chanting this transcendental vibration of Hare Krishna.
I'm sorry, first you said heavenly planets, then you said the spiritual world. I can't follow the thread of your question.
Maharaj, just like if I have desire to go to the heavenly planets,
Give it up.
by chanting Hare
Just
Krishna.
don't do it. Just don't do it, that's all. Don't ask the question. No need. There's no need to ask that question. Better not. Hare Krishna. Yeah, please. Yeah, give the mic there.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, Maharaj. So you were mentioning about Yesham tu antagatam papam verse, and how when we are more or less free from sinful nature, we come to Dhrida Bhakti. But sometimes I feel it's like a catch-22 situation. Unless we come out of sinful nature, we do Dhrida Bhakti, or we do Dhrida Bhakti.
It's a... Yeshang tvantagatam papa. Those who have finished performing sinful activities. Well, that's similar to the... that's similar to, in some ways, that verse, Mang chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitaitan brahma. That or you're bringing that by bhakti yoga you can become free from the modes, and when you're free from the modes you can do bhakti. So what comes first, the chicken or the egg? By performing devotional service we become free from the tendency to perform sinful activities, and when we're completely free from the tendency to perform sinful activities, then we can do devotional service more dridata. The factor which makes all the difference is the sadhus. They help cut through all the... Otherwise we're trying by our own effort, but the sadhus who help to uplift us, that makes all the difference. So we understand from Shastra. And we practically saw. Srila Prabhupada, he went to the Western countries, and he said that those devotees who he picked up, they must have all had a touch with devotional service previously. Otherwise, how did they take to it? But if Prabhupada hadn't gone there, then no one would have taken to devotional service. So that's the vital factor. I'm just discussing one element here, but there are so many elements. There's previous life impressions, the association. That's always mentioned, and that when one is ready for taking up devotional service, then we come in contact with sadhus. There's that verse, Kono bhage karo jadi Kono bhage karo sangsar koyan mok hoy sadhu sange tabe Krishna rati upajoy. By some good fortune, kono bhage, when someone is feeling that I just don't like this material world anymore. When someone has that feeling, then by good fortune, if they can meet a sadhu, at that time their feelings, their attachment to Krishna can develop. Sounds much nicer in Bengali. If you're living in Mayapur, you can learn Bengali, and then you can read Caitanya-caritamrta. What is that? Kono bhage karo sangsar koyan mok hoy tabe sadhu sange tabe Krishna rati upajoy. Sounds a lot better in Bengali, doesn't it? And it just goes right in. কি আপনার মত কি? এই সকল কথা বাংলায় বলে ভালো হয় নাকি? বুঝতে পারছেন না, তবু শ্রদ্ধার সহিত শুনছেন। Hare Krishna, anything else? Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.